tell you the scientists just opened a cave that's been sealed for 5 million years. I cannot express this enough.
Inside a narrow cave, two miners are searching.
Scientists believed they would only discover rocks and dust when they uncovered a cave that had been sealed off for millions of years. But everyone was astonished by what they discovered within. Strange creatures that had never experienced sunshine moved in the dark. The walls appeared to breathe, and the air was heavy and deadly. It was as though they had entered another universe as they descended farther. Our entire understanding of life was altered by what they discovered. What did that unending blackness actually conceal? Join us in this video as we reveal the details. The shocking discovery in a sealed cave revealed by scientists. Scientists were surprised by what they discovered when they started to open long sealed caves all across the world. For hundreds, if not millions of years, many of these caves had been sealed off. It had been centuries since the air within had blended with the outside. Neither the weird creatures that had taken up residence there nor the stone walls had been exposed to sunlight. The stories of life that had managed to exist in total darkness were unique to each cave. As explorers and researchers carefully entered these places, they realized that what lay hidden beneath the earth could change what we thought we knew about life, human history, and even our planet's oldest secrets. In Romania, one cave that had been sealed for around 5.5 million years shocked the world. It was discovered in 1986, quite by accident, when workers were looking for a spot to build a nuclear power plant. The cave was far below the surface, totally dark, and filled with toxic air made of carbon dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. Scientists once believed that nothing could survive in such a deadly place. However, when they put researchers and tools inside, they found an advanced ecosystem that had formed without sunlight, something that looked unreal. A total of 48 species were found, including 33 that had never been seen on Earth before. These animals, which included leeches, centipedes, snails, and spiders, lacked eyes and color and were well suited to the dark. They survived by consuming bacteria that developed from the chemical vapors in the cave rather than vegetation. What scientists knew about ancient people was altered by another discovery made in Italy.
But as they head deeper into the darkness, they make an unexpected discovery. Human skeletons.
A skeleton that appeared to be frozen in time was discovered by investigators in the Lamalunga cave in 1993. A Neanderthal man who died about 170,000 years ago was represented by the bones. His almost whole skeleton, still covered in layers of stalactites and limestone that had formed around him over years, was what made the finding amazing. He was known as the Altamura Man. Tests using DNA taken from his shoulder blade confirmed that he was a Neanderthal. He had a big jaw, high brow ridges, and big characteristics that were characteristic of Neanderthals who once lived in Europe. Being among the oldest and best preserved human fossils ever discovered, it provided researchers with an amazing window into the evolution and way of life of early humans. Another unexpected find was uncovered by researchers in the distant border cave in South Africa. Bits of burned roots were discovered inside layers of old ash, indicating that early humans had been preparing vegetables around 170,000 years ago. Often referred to as African potatoes, these roots originated from the Hypoxis plant family. Some were medicinal, some bitter, and some delicious. This showed that early people were expert gatherers who knew how to use fire and vegetation for survival, not only hunters. It also shows that their food was healthy long before farming was formed. Scientists now view early humans as more knowledgeable than previously thought, because they already knew how to roast food and prepare it meticulously. Another discovery in a French deep cave offered a different kind of tale. About 175,000 years ago, Neanderthals had entered the Bruniquel cave and built some strange, circular structures made of broken stalagmites. More than 400 pieces of stone had been stacked and arranged in two large rings. When researchers studied them, they found marks of fire, suggesting the stones had been heated or lit by torches. The pattern and effort it took to build such structures meant this was not random. It had purpose. Maybe it was a gathering place, maybe a ritual site, or maybe something else entirely. Whatever the reason, it proved that Neanderthals could work together, plan, and think alike. They were not the simple old beings people once thought, but intelligent humans capable of teamwork and thinking. If what was revealed in the first few caves already left researchers stunned, then how much more unbelievable could the findings in the remaining ones be? Stay tuned for more. Echoes of the hidden past. Another cave in France revealed something much softer, something human and emotional. In the Chauvet cave, researchers found the footprints of a child walking beside a dog or perhaps a wolf. The footprints were more than 26,000 years old. It looked as though the child had been holding a torch, as there were smudges of charcoal nearby. The prints of the animal followed closely beside the child's, almost as if they were walking together. This discovery hinted that the bond between humans and dogs may have begun far earlier than anyone thought, maybe 30,000 years ago, long before recorded history. In Sicily, another cave held a surprise of a different kind, ancient trace of wine. Deep inside, archaeologists found jars made of clay that had residue at the bottom. Chemical tests showed tartaric acid, the main sign of grape fermentation. This meant people in that cave had been making wine about 6,000 years ago, during the Copper Age. Before this discovery, historians believed winemaking in Italy began only 3,000 years later. By showing that the local people were already skilled in fermentation and cultivation long before anybody realized it, this new evidence pushed back the history of Italian wine. Another ancient cave in Germany revealed a modest but amazing artifact, a little bird-shaped carving carved out of mammoth ivory. It is one of the earliest known artistic representations of a bird, having been made by early people about 30,000 years ago. It's possible that the engraving symbolized something symbolic or spiritual. Its combination of shapes, half lion, part horse and part bird, showed originality and imagination. Meanwhile, in New Zealand, a discovery stunned archaeologists and social media alike. In 1987, deep in a cave, a team found the claw of a giant bird that still had muscle and flesh attached, even though it was over 3,000 years old. The claw belonged to the moa, a huge flightless bird that had gone extinct long ago. Some moas stood as tall as 12 feet and weighed over 500 pounds. The preservation of the claw was so perfect that it looked as though the bird had died only recently. In Croatia, deep within one of the world's deepest cave systems, scientists discovered something fragile and almost otherworldly, a transparent snail that lives in total darkness. Found 3,200 feet below ground in the Lucina Jama Trojama cave, this snail was unlike any other. It was small, blind and completely clear, moving just millimeters per week. It had adjusted flawlessly to a dark world. The species, Zospeum thulussum, came to represent how life can persist even in the most hostile and isolated regions of the earth. Another cave in Sri Lanka, far to the east, showed another form of human achievement. Tiny animal bone arrowheads discovered by researchers inside the Far Hien Lena cave provide evidence that bows and arrows were used by the local population approximately 48,000 years ago. Alongside the arrowheads were beads made of shells and coloured with ochre, suggesting that these early humans also cared about decoration and personal expression. It was the earliest evidence of archery found in all of Eurasia. It showed that humans living in South Asia were not behind their European or African counterparts. They were inventing tools, adapting to new environments, and creating beauty in their own way. Last but not least, a 1903 find in Britain offered a link between the old and new worlds. Years later, DNA tests showed that Cheddar Man, whose skeleton was found in a cave, shared genes with other people who are still living in the same area. His curly hair, blue eyes, and dark skin showed how early Britons did not look at all as many people thought.
And now with DNA technology, we've got the whole genome of Cheddar Man. And here we've got a scientific reconstruction of what he looked like. We've got his hair form, his skin, his blue eyes, and that dark skin colour, that combination really striking.
The discovery forced historians to rethink how human features and populations changed over time, reminding us that our ancestors were far more diverse than history books once suggested. Each of these caves, once sealed away by time, opened a door into the deep past. The things found inside, whether bones, carvings, plants, or animals, were more than scientific data. They were views of lives once lived, of animals that survived in the dark, and of people who changed their world long before history began. Together, they tell the story of how strong, flexible, and endlessly creative life on Earth truly is. If old caves around the world have already shown forgotten lives and strange creatures, then what deeper secrets still lie hidden in the shocking chambers? Let's delve deeper. Unearthing the secrets buried within the world's oldest caves. In the deserts of Saudi Arabia, far from cities and towns, scientists made a strange discovery that seemed to reach back thousands of years. About 80 miles from Medina, there lies an ancient lava tube, known today as the Arabian Cave of Bones. It was formed almost 5 million years ago, when volcanic heat shaped the ground into tunnels. For a long time, people feared entering it. The first explorers said they heard deep growls inside and left, thinking wild animals lived there. Years later, researchers returned with better equipment and courage. What they found shocked them: thousands of bones scattered across the floor. These bones belonged to both humans and animals that had been dragged into the cave over the past 7,000 years. Scientists later realized the cave had been used by striped hyenas, known for their habit of taking bones back to their dens. Around 2,000 bones were collected from 14 different species, including camels, horses, and humans. Some of the bones were chewed, even the bones of other hyenas, showing that these animals sometimes turned on their own kind. Thousands of miles away, in Michigan, there is another strange cave with a story that feels both sad and mysterious. The Skull Cave on Mackinac Island looks small and harmless, but when a fur trader named Alexander Henry hid there in 1763 during a violent uprising, he discovered it was not empty. The floor was covered with human skulls and bones. It turned out that long before his time, the local Native American tribes had used this cave as a burial site. The bones, once sacred, later disappeared as years passed. Across the ocean in England, near London, lie the Chislehurst Caves.
Being built throughout the 13th to the 19th century, this series of intersecting man-made caves lies here underneath Chislehurst. That's right, we're here at the Chislehurst Caves.
Sometimes called the Caves of the Druids. This massive system stretches for more than 20 miles underground and reaches depths of about 100 feet. People once believed ancient Druids, Romans, and Saxons performed secret rituals there, but there is no proof. Archaeologists later found a fossil from a giant sea reptile, showing that the stone forming the cave was about 50 million years old. Even more shocking, a skeleton dating back to around 10,000 BC was found in the cave's ceiling. It suggested that early humans may have used the place as shelter during the Ice Age. In the Himalayas, scientists studying the Dharamjali cave uncovered clues about how one of the world's first great civilizations, the Indus Valley Civilization, collapsed. By studying stalagmites inside the cave, experts discovered that 3 long droughts happened between 4,200 and 3,900 years ago. These dry periods each lasted around 90 years and caused major famine. The findings showed that the once powerful cities of the Indus Valley fell not by war, but by nature itself. Also, deep in the frozen wilderness of Canada, a new mystery appeared. In 2018, explorers found the Wells Grey Cave hidden beneath ice and snow in British Columbia.
A newly discovered cave in British Columbia could be the largest in Canada. It was spotted by a helicopter during a caribou census last March in a remote part of Wells Grey Provincial Park.
The entrance drops straight down into a deep vertical hole, about 400 feet. Scientists believed it had been buried by glaciers for thousands of years. Plans were made to explore it, but in 2023, the Canadian government suddenly closed off the entire area and warned that anyone entering could face million-dollar fines. No clear reason was given, leaving many to wonder what lies inside that forbidden cave. If those ancient caves reshaped history, what deeper secrets still hide in the darkness below? Keep watching to find out. The hidden truths beneath the earth. There are still so many strange and unbelievable things hidden on this planet, waiting to be found. One of the most haunting discoveries came from a cave in Idaho. It began with the strange story of a man named Joseph Henry Loveless, a known criminal who lived in the late 1800s. Loveless was a bootlegger, a counterfeiter, and a man who always seemed to escape the law. He was clever, but he also lived a dangerous life. He was first married, then divorced, and later married again to a woman named Agnes. But in 1916, tragedy struck. Agnes's life was brutally taken with an axe while the couple was camping near Dubois, Idaho. Loveless was caught, but as always, he escaped, and after that, he vanished completely. For more than 60 years, no one knew what happened to him. Then, in 1979, a family exploring a cave near St. Anthony found a burlap-wrapped torso.
They identified a headless torso found in an Idaho cave as a man who escaped from jail in 1916. Joseph Henry Loveless was in jail for murdering his wife with an axe.
More body parts, arms and legs, were discovered over the next several years. In 2019, after DNA testing, scientists confirmed the shocking truth. The remains were those of Joseph Henry Loveless.
Through our research, following the tireless efforts of innumerable experts, we have identified Clark County John Doe. His name was Joseph Henry Loveless.
The locals from long ago may have taken justice into their own hands. The cave, silent for so long, had finally revealed his fate. Far across the ocean, another discovery waited under the waters of Madagascar. This island is known for its rare and beautiful animals, but thousands of years ago, it was home to even larger creatures, giant tortoises, massive birds, and huge lemurs that were the size of gorillas. When paleontologists explored an underwater cave there in 2014, they found something amazing. The bottom of the cave was filled with ancient bones from these extinct creatures. No one knows exactly how they got there. The bones rest 82 feet underwater, perfectly preserved. These remains gave researchers a rare look into what Madagascar looked like in prehistoric times, a land full of life that disappeared after humans arrived. Then, in Scotland, a group of young boys stumbled upon one of the strangest cave mysteries ever found. In 1836, while exploring Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh, they discovered a small cave sealed with pieces of slate. Inside were 17 tiny wooden coffins, each one carefully made, each holding a small hand-carved figure dressed in tiny clothes. Newspapers at the time were quick to shout about witchcraft and dark magic. Others thought the coffins might represent people who had died at sea or gone missing. But years later, a darker theory took hold. Some experts now believe the dolls were memorials for the 17 victims of the body snatchers William Burke and William Hare, who assassinated people to sell their bodies to medical schools. If the first caves exposed secrets long buried, what will the next ones unveil about our hidden past? Let's find out. Whispers from the underground. In Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, two divers made a discovery that took them thousands of years into the past. Deep inside a flooded cave, they found an ancient mine sealed off for 11,000 years.
Experts have found one of the world's oldest ochre mines in Mexico. The underwater mines are said to be over 10,000 years old. The mines were discovered in the Yucatan Peninsula.
It was used by early humans to gather a red pigment called ochre. People back then used this color for paintings, burials, and even as a kind of mosquito repellent. The cave was filled with old tools, fire remains, and piles of stones that guided miners through the darkness. In the Philippines, the Kabayan mummy caves revealed another side of ancient life. Long before the rest of the world knew about mummification, the Ibaloi people were practicing it.
The old burial rites are deep in ritual. They're not practiced anymore, but they used to mummify the bodies. It was untouched by colonialization and only really uncovered when they started logging the areas back in the 1900s.
People would start drinking a salty concoction to start the preservation process when they realized they were dying. The body was placed inside exquisitely crafted wooden coffins after being dried, smoked, and wrapped. Before loggers discovered them, these mummies, which were concealed in mountain caves, had been undiscovered for generations. Another eerie discovery appeared in a cave in Yucatan, Mexico. On the walls were 137 black and red handprints made by Mayan children around 1,200 years ago. Archaeologists believe the black prints represented death, while the red ones symbolized life or war.
They imprinted their hands on the walls in black color, because black symbolized death. Afterwards, these children imprinted their hands in red, which was reference to war or life.
It was part of a ritual for children entering adulthood. These ceremonies took place during a terrible time of drought and famine. Back in Scotland, another cave told a more violent story. The Sculptor's Cave, located on the cliffs of Moray, could only be reached during low tide. Archaeologists discovered evidence that the location had been used for executions and burials by ancient people. There were sculptures on the walls, bones with defleshing marks, and proof of beheadings that occurred more than 1,500 years ago. The discovery of bones belonging to a small species of ancient humans, later known as Homo floresiensis.
Today I'm taking you back to the discovery of an extinct species of human, Homo floresiensis. It was nicknamed the Hobbit, and it existed until as recently as 70,000 years ago.
By Indonesian researchers in 2004, stunned the scientific community. Tens of thousands of years ago, these hobbits lived on the island of Flores and were only around 3.5 feet tall. At first, some scientists thought they were modern humans with a disorder, but DNA studies proved they were a completely different species. Ancient wineries in Armenia, glistening crystal caverns in Mexico, and even hidden carved chambers in England are just a few examples of how the world's caves continue to uncover humanity's lost history. They remind us that history isn't only written in books, it's written in stone, in dust, and in the quiet darkness beneath our feet. Every new cave reveals to us how much of the world remains unsolved, and how many mysteries are still shrouded in the past. How do you feel about the prospect of venturing into locked caves? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you found it interesting. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Click the next video shown on your screen to catch up on your favorite celebrity stories. See you there.